Tonight on KGW News, close call in the cockpit.
Everyone was sort of panicking.
After an off-duty pilot allegedly tried to bring down an Alaska Airlines flight.
But the fact it was their own employee that did that's a whole different level.
Plus, the key to a Gresham drug bust hiding in the oven. Then,
he was just a person that had way too much life to live.
A young mother stabbed to death while walking home. Tonight, the search for her attacker. And later, KGW investigates doctors disciplined for harming patients.
How can you kill somebody and then go practice still?
Why it's almost impossible for you to discover if your doctor has a past. First at 11, the pilot accused of trying to shut down the engines on an Alaska Airlines plane while in flight is headed to court tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. That pilot who was off duty at the time is now in the Multnomah County Jail facing 83 counts of attempted murder. Kyle Aboshi has the details, including an interview with one of the passengers on board.
According to the airline, that off-duty pilot tried to disrupt the operation of the engines or shut them down, but the captain and first officer quickly responded and no one was hurt. Passenger photos show the police response at PDX after an Alaska flight was diverted and an off-duty pilot arrested, charged with 83 counts of attempted murder for trying to disrupt the engines.
The passengers didn't know what was going on. We were looking at each other. No one knew anything.
Alaska Airlines Flight 2059 left Everett, Washington around 5:30 Sunday night. The flight, operated by Horizon Airlines, was headed to San Francisco when it reported a credible security threat. The plane was diverted to Portland. The pilot told air traffic control a man tried to cut the plane's engines.
I'll just give you a heads up. We've got the guy that tried to shut the engines down out of the cockpit.
According to the airline, an off-duty Alaska pilot who was traveling in a jump seat in the cockpit tried to disrupt the operations of the engines. More specifically, the pilot's union said he tried to deploy the engine fire suppression system.
It shuts off the fuel to the engine, so the engine's going to shut down.
Retired commercial pilot Jim Hummel.
The fire handles are red, so you can't mistake them for anything else in the cockpit.
The crew responded quickly, and engine power was not lost.
I was in seat 3. I was near the cockpit. I could see almost everything.
Passenger Paul Stevens said after the incident, the suspect walked calmly to the back of the cabin.
And I'm sitting in my seat, and I see the cockpit door open. Gentleman walks out. He's got his hands crossed in front of him, and he walks to the back of the plane by himself.
Stephen wonders why more wasn't done to immediately restrain the man.
I think if I knew what happened and I saw this guy walk past me, me and others wouldn't have let that happen.
After the plane landed safely at PDX, police took 44-year-old Joseph Emerson into custody.
The FBI is investigating and at this time can assure the traveling public there is no continuing threat related to this incident.
At this point, it's not clear why the off-duty pilot tried to disrupt the flight. Aviation experts say it's common practice for off-duty pilots to hitch a ride in the jump seat when commuting to and from work. It happens every day. Emerson is scheduled to appear in state court tomorrow. He could also face federal charges. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, 2 Gresham brothers will spend the next 3 years behind bars after stashing drugs in their oven. Last fall, authorities found large amounts of fentanyl and heroin hidden in the oven and crawl space of their apartment. According to prosecutors, 23-year-old Humberto Garcia Perez and 19-year-old Benjamin Perez Gonzalez were part of a Mexico-based drug trafficking ring. A DEA task force tracked the 2 suspects through surveillance. A Washington state senator has been arrested in Hong Kong for transporting a gun in his carry-on bag. Jeff Wilson, who represents Longview, called it an honest mistake. He said he hadn't realized he was carrying that unloaded pistol. Wilson says he alerted customs as soon as he touched down. So instead of starting a vacation, he is now set to appear in court next week. It appears the gun was missed by TSA screeners here at PDX in Portland. The TSA says it is gathering information. And in Hillsborough, school officials are calling the shooting death of a 17-year-old student at a house party over the weekend senseless violence. Another teen, a 16-year-old, was injured. Hillsborough High had counselors on site today to work with students. Police say shots were fired Saturday evening around 8 at a home on Northwest 34th Place. No arrests have been made. New at 11, a plea for help and justice after a young mother was stabbed to death in southeast Portland. Catherine Cook talked with the victim's sister about the life she now leaves behind.
She was funny. She was caring. She never judged people. Like she just, I don't know, she was just a loving person.
Phoenicia Damian is trying to understand life without her little sister, 22-year-old Tiara Atencio.
You know, when you lose someone, you feel empty. You don't know what to feel. It hurts. It just hurts.
It was Thursday, October 19th. Phoenicia says that night she and Tiara had gone to church, then hung out before Tiara headed for home. Then just after 11, police responded to an assault near Southeast 68th and Powell. That's where they found Tiara. She'd been stabbed and later died from her injuries. Phoenicia says it happened just a block from where her sister lived.
Any idea who could have done this?
I don't know.
Phoenicia says Tiara was a single mom. Her little boy, just a year and a half old, has special needs.
He was her whole life. Like that, she talked about him every day, and just, I don't know, she had so many plans. You want to watch your son grow. You want to be with your kids.
Now they're without one of their own. As they prepare to say goodbye to Tiara, loved ones are raising money for a celebration of life. And they're raising awareness about her case. They know someone knows something, and they know someone is responsible for Tiara's death.
Just turn yourself in, just so we can just heal. And I don't know, may God have mercy on you.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Hundreds more healthcare workers are now on strike. This time it is 1,300 employees from 2 Peace Health locations joining the picket lines. The union representing employees in the tech, service, maintenance, and lab units says workers will be on strike through Friday. This impacts the Peace Health hospitals in Vancouver and Longview. Workers are seeking higher pay and increased staffing levels, and they're accusing Peace Health of bargaining in bad faith.
They treated us like heroes through COVID, and now they treat us like zeros. And now I think it goes to show that we are not easily replaced.
Peace Health says while it respects workers' rights to strike, it is, quote, deeply disappointed, unquote, after offering what it calls multiple highly competitive proposals. The company adds it has temporarily brought in some contract workers and non-union staff where possible. All right, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. Matt, tracking our first significant snowfall of the season headed for the Cascades. How much are we talking about?
Yeah, David, it's going to be really quite significant and a great start to building our mountain snowpack. Now, looking at Doppler radar right now, not a lot going on yet, but this is new. We're getting some showers up along the Olympic Peninsula. This is the leading edge of the system that will bring that heavy mountain snowfall. Here's a forecast for you through the week, and we're looking at 14 inches on Mount Hood. But it depends on elevation. Good foot as you go up and down the Cascades in Oregon and more north into the Cascades of Washington. And even more than that, if you go east into the Rockies of northern Montana and over into Idaho. So yes, it's going to be a really healthy snowfall for us and a great way to build our snowpack, at least to begin to build it. So tomorrow I'm thinking about 3 to 5 inches new by midnight, but then another 4 to 8 as it really comes down overnight, Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning through the day Wednesday. Few more inches on Thursday. And look at the snow levels down 2,500 feet, 2,000 feet. By the weekend down to 1,500 feet. But by then we are drying out. So another way to look at this, it's the start of our snowpack, with the beginning of building our mountain snowpack for the entire winter. 6 to 12 inches from 4 to 6,000 feet. But up to 2 feet when you get above 6,000 feet, up to 9,000 feet, which is certainly great news, the upper reaches of the ski area. So heavy Cascade snow Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The passes, the roads through the passes will be snowy, so be prepared for winter driving conditions. And then clear and cold for the weekend. We'll talk about frost in the valleys. David, back to you.
Yeah, looking forward to ski season. Here it comes. Thank you, Matt. And while we're about to see snow here in the deep south, Louisiana is still seeing wildfires. Officials say a combination of smoke from fires plus fog appears to be behind this, a massive pile of crash, more than 150 vehicles involved, and at least 7 people were killed. The scene on Interstate 55 today near New Orleans shows cars that burned up there. Rescuers spent all day digging through the wreckage, looking for survivors. In the Middle East, Hamas has released 2 more hostages, both Israelis and both seniors, on humanitarian grounds. This comes 3 days after they released an American mother and her teenage daughter. The White House is now urging Israel to hold off on a ground operation into Gaza to give more time for aid to make it in and potentially to get additional hostages out. More than 200 people, including U.S. citizens, are being held hostage in Gaza. The death toll there has passed 5,000 people. At least 1,400 people have been killed in Israel. You're watching KGW News, and straight ahead at 11, an online breach in Clark County. What was and wasn't impacted. Plus, doctors disciplined for serious misconduct. KGW investigates why many are still allowed to practice. A look at our new documentary. It's called Sick Medicine. That's next.